Okay, I found a good show. I've watched the first episode, which is technically the first 2 episodes. It's 30 minutes long, so each episode's about like 15 minutes long. And it has the longest title ever. And you can guess it's Japanese. Okay, so it's The Boy Who Defies the World of BL. Except the title that they translated it, like, they have the opening sequences and stuff, and then they say it out loud. The translations on Viki are different. I'm gonna write it down here, but off the top of my memory, it's whatever. It's the world that makes men fall for men versus the man who refuses to fall for a man. Something like that. It's a really long title. It's so funny. Dude, their opening, like, credits is them dancing in front of a giant sign that says BL and stuff. It's really good. Okay, everyone, I know that it's 1 a.m., but I got another review for y'all. So I just finished binging the entirety of Season 1 of A Man Who Defies the World of BL. It is a Japanese BL. It's in a world of BL, so I'm gonna say it's BL. And it's this guy who realizes that they're all in a world where it's BL. So, like, if someone goes and, like, bumps their shoulder, or, like, if they trip and then someone catches them, like, it always ends up in a relationship, right? Like, and then just keep getting together, and it's him trying to avoid all of these, where it's really funny. Very great comedy. It's so good. And there's a reoccurring character, like, that I know from another show. This guy, can't quite see him, he's from When It Rains It Pours, which is a more recent thing. This is from 2021, I believe. And, he's skinny. He's like a twig in this compared to now. So 4 episodes. Each episode is about 30 minutes long, but each episode within itself has like 2 parts. So there's really like 8 episodes around there. And, very funny. Very, like, the humor is hilarious. Because there was this one guy, he gets introduced as, like, the love interest to the main character's younger brother, and he comes in, and he literally twirls and, like, does this with his hair, and then roses appear around his head, and, like, he's in a spotlight, and then we cut back to our protagonist sitting down just looking at him, and he's, like, blinded by the light, and he's like, oh my fucking god. That's so funny, are you kidding me? So it's like that shit, but for every single time you meet someone, and not everyone gets the roses, but it's that type of humor. It's really good. Very obvious humor. Because it's so short, I don't have too much to say. So I think, like, cinematography-wise, right, I don't think it was, the highest budget or anything super crazy or out of the ordinary, besides the humor, right? It will purposely do, like, a really close-up on our protagonist's face and him just going, like, when he sees other people, like, getting together or something, because he's like, I'm not gonna let this world make me fall in love with a man, grr, that kind of stuff. And if you've ever seen, Death Note, and if you've ever seen those edits where you don't hear the voiceover, like the internal monologues of the characters, it's just people staring at each other, that's what this is. Because everyone has, like, we hear their thoughts, not, like, immediately, like, as it's happening, but except for the protagonist, but we get to kind of get a narration through his thoughts, and so it's a lot of just people standing and him staring and thinking. Normally I dock it because it gets really awkward, and it kind of is, like, it's really noticeable. I'm just thinking, like, as an actor, you just have to sit there and go, like, and you're, like, making so many facial expressions for no fucking reason, and I'm sure someone was off screen just reading the script, because sometimes it's, like, it's a lot. Like, it's a paragraph. And then they go back to talking like normal. And I'm like, that's really noticeable. So, but it's also the style of the show. Like, it's supposed to be comedic. It's supposed to be over the top. It's supposed to be really fucking stupid. Like, there's this one point where the protagonist realizes that his younger brother has fallen to the world of BL. And he flips down from the kitchen table and a spotlight, like, all the lights turn off and there's a spotlight on him and he goes to the ground and he's like, no, like, that's so funny, but so over the top. So cinematography, average except for those moments where they just have fun. Now, my biggest gripe with this is how short it was. The story at the beginning felt like vignettes where he would just like show up into places and then we'd get to see the different scenarios and like stereotypes that, it's not stereotypes, what the cliches. We got to see all the different cliches of someone falling and someone catching them, or someone seeing them from a distance, or someone almost running into someone and then they get helped, or it's someone who was drunk and then whatever, right? We get a whole bunch of these different cliches, and it's just this guy bumping into all of them and then trying to avoid them. And then in the middle, we actually get to focus on his younger brother, and that almost felt distracting, because I was like, whoa, we're actually getting a storyline? Like, the first, 2 episodes was just us walking around the world. Like, what, now we actually have to follow something? But then you get into that story, and you're like, okay, cool, but it could have ended so fast. Like, it was speed running a regular BL show, because they're not the protagonists, and so there's, a little bit of conflict, but then, they get together, and then, things get fixed, blah, 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 right? And then we get back to the protagonist, and I was like, okay, cool. And then there's this one guy who writes BLs, he draws the comics and mangas and stuff, and, I didn't really care for him. He was fine, but then there was also, a narration, the world was talking to him. He was like, man, I wish I was in the world of BL. And then he heard a voice going, you are, fucking dumbass, you are in this world. And then it was said, the protagonist said that to him, I guess, but he was nowhere near him, and the other dude thought he was going crazy, and also, why would you tell the other guy that? So that brings up just random questions, but I didn't really care. Anyways, then we get to the last episode, where I feel like we went way too fast. The pacing was way too fast. Even the protagonist was like, whoa, 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 what the fuck's going on, kind of thing. And I'm not going to spoil any of it, because I feel like I kind of spoiled some of the other storylines, but those don't quite matter as much as the protagonists. So, he just, in a blink of an eye, does something kind of out of character, and there are things to defend it, and reasoning of why he would do that, and you're sure, but I felt they could have made it more comedic to illustrate, to undermine his characterization. I don't know how. So without trying to spoil anything else, I'm gonna give this an 8 out of 10. I really thought of giving this a 10 out of 10, but then there were, that last episode kind of met it for me, and then some aspects just could have been better, again, pacing, that one random character who I'm sure is going to be important for, season 2 or whatever. I don't feel like he added much to the story. I feel like it distracted and took away a little bit. And he felt so, creepy and grimy compared to the other characters that every time he was on screen, I kind of was like, ugh. I got such a big ick from him. I'm sure you're supposed to, but... So, 8 out of 10. Really fun. I'm gonna watch the season 2 now. We'll see if I do that tonight, or if I actually go to bed, but... Very fun. I'm gonna try and find something to show here. Okay, hold on. I wish Instagram would let me share the entire video of that, but for some reason it's only 10 seconds of it. Go watch it, because that intro is so good. It's so funny. Yeah, so that's the vibe of the show. Go watch that. Go watch the show. Would recommend if you're looking for a little giggle. It's not that long. It's 2 hours or something. So, yeah, that's the opening, dude. That's so funny. Dear Lord, the title is far too long. So, what do I do? 8 out of 10. Beautiful. I'll put this up right here. Da, 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 da.